Hey guys, this is Hunter with You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be looking at Chris Trapasso's new mock draft. I'm going to title it as 2.0. He's been doing mock drafts all year, but since I only did one of his on the channel before, I'm just going to number it like that so it's easier to stay along. So this is by CBS. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your favorite pick or least favorite pick from this mock draft. We're going to get right into it. We're bringing you daily content every day. We really appreciate your support, so let's go. So at first, he starts off with saying, let's do the Justin Fields trade. So the Falcons are going to get Justin Fields and a 2025 6th-round pick. The Bears are going to get the number 74 overall pick, 3rd-round pick, a 2025 3rd-round pick that becomes a 2nd-round pick if Fields plays 75% of the snaps, and becomes a 1st-round pick if the Falcons make the playoffs in 2025. I believe he did this last mock draft video, but with the same terms. I believe it was just with the Raiders. And then there's another trade. Okay, so the Commanders are going to get the number 1 overall, so they're trading up. As you can tell, not a fan of it, but yeah. So Commanders are trading up to number 1 overall. Number 122, which is a 4th-round pick, and a 2025 4th-round pick as well. The Bears get number 2, number 43 overall, number 79 overall. So a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 2025 1st, and a 2026 3rd. Honestly, I'm going to have to see what this actual trade is. I don't like it. I think my thing is, like, if the Bears are truly going to go quarterback, I don't know what they do. This is a blind reaction, but why not stay at the top and get your guy unless you have all these guys rated similarly and it's like a coin flip? But let's, I guess, get right into it. Alrighty, so number 1, we have the Bears taking the Commanders taking Caleb Williams. Well, obviously, if you're going to spend that much to move up, you're going to get the most sought after probably quarterback prospect in a long time. To move up and draft Drake May or, Jaden Daniels just doesn't really make sense to me. Pick number 2, we have the Bears taking Jaden Daniels. So I absolutely hate this pick. I know I didn't say much on the Caleb Williams pick because my thing is whoever is moving up is going to take him first. Like, Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick, and at the end of the day, like, we know who he is, what he's about to do, what teams are willing to trade to go get him. So the Bears moving down, in my opinion, to select a less than stellar quarterback. I mean, I guess my thing is, with the history of the Bears and not having that franchise guy for so long, to finally be gifted a chance to take the number 1 guy it's not even your pick, and then you move down and select a guy who, while he did have a great year at LSU, it took him 5 years to get there. He is already 23 years old, and to move to Jaden Daniels off Justin Fields, I understand they're not the same player, but to me just makes 0 sense for the Bears. Now, if you're a Commanders fan, I'm sure you're probably thrilled. That is a lot of draft capital to move up 1 spot, but I think that is probably what it would be, if not more, probably a player's thrown in there as well. But yeah, I really do not like this pick for the Bears. I think it is probably one of the worst case scenarios they can do, because I honestly don't think Jaden Daniels is even going to end up going in the top 5. And to take him at number 2, just, if you're going to trade down to number 2, you got to take May, a younger guy who has shown more consistently that he can be the guy. Yeah, I'm kind of ranting. I just do not like this pick at all. Number 3, we have Marvin Harrison Jr. going to the New England Patriots. Honestly, I think this is a no-brainer unless a team wants to offer a stupid amount to come up and get him. I think that team is not ready for a quarterback. Although, if May is here, that is something to consider because, next year's class isn't that good unless you want to go get a guy in 26, but then you're on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s 3rd year, and you'd hope your team is a little bit better by then. So maybe you're going to trade up to get him, but I don't know. Marvin Harrison Jr., best player in the draft. Go get him. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Rome Odunze. So I've been seeing kind of this narrative a little bit more. The more and more I see mock drafts and just the more and more I hear from reporters is that Malik Neighbors may actually be the 3rd wide receiver off the board. And I don't have a problem with that. I think it kind of depends on what you want at corner. I think Rome Odunze is obviously a little bit bigger body, different play style than Malik Neighbors, but in my opinion, Malik Neighbors is the better player. So not at all that crazy, but if you pair him with a Hollywood Brown or a little bit more of a speedster, I could see why you would go Rome here over Malik Neighbors. And I will say, in the mocks that I have been reading, I have been seeing Neighbors fall a little bit, and I don't think that has anything to do with the level of player as that he is. I just see that as the fact that there are other players that some may believe have a higher ceiling or fit their team better, and that's the reality of it. So at number 5, we have Byron Murphy going to the Los Angeles Chargers. So this is the second time I've seen Byron Murphy mocked here. I don't hate it at all. I think any D-line help, I mean, they might be trading. I saw some things about Joey Bosa. I saw some stuff about Khalil Mack. The Chargers, I believe, are $45 million over the cap. And obviously with that contract that they just gave to Justin Herbert, they're going to have to start not cutting corners, but finding some cheaper, younger talent, especially in the draft. And when you have that much money dedicated to the D-line and they're not performing like they should have, maybe it's time to move on from those guys, start rebuilding the trenches, and go from there. You have Rashawn Slater on the other side of the ball, who is a great tackle, and it really starts in the trenches. So maybe the Chargers can finally start to achieve what they're supposed to as a defense by taking Byron Murphy, the top interior defensive lineman, IDL 1 with Jerzon Newton, depends how you have him ranked. But number 6, we have the New York Giants taking Drake May. Honestly, if I'm the Chargers as well, now that we see May is the quarterback off the board here, I think if May is available at 5, there's going to be teams calling up Raiders, Broncos, Vikings, Giants. Like, even Giants move up one spot. If you move up one spot, you get some capital, and you can still take your guy because you know why the Giants are moving up. Honestly, if the Giants are there at 6 with Drake May, hire a track runner and run the card in. There should be no debate if Drake May is there at 6 that the Giants will be taking him. They can put out whatever smoke they want about they have trust in Daniel Jones, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't done it. I know he hasn't had the best team, but similar to Fields, at some point you just got to move on. You paid him. You didn't pay Saquon. I'm not saying paying Saquon a ridiculous amount of money, but you could have paid Saquon and then franchise tag Daniel Jones, and then you wouldn't be in this situation. But, the Giants. So at number 7, we have Talise Fuaga to the Tennessee Titans. So you know what? I keep seeing Fuaga mocked ahead of Alt and even Olu. And while I get the appeal of Fuaga, to take him over such like a high floor guy like Alt, I think Fuaga can be like good in the league, but I never see him as like a top 5 tackle in the league. Just from watching his tape, I just don't see it. I think he could be top 15, but in my opinion, if he's gonna be that, unless you have higher like expectations for him, I just think Joe Alt is basically a lock to be like a top 15 tackle at any point in his career. So I just think, pairing Alt with like Peter Skronsky, I say this every mock draft, is just the most surefire way to build that line. Fuaga is definitely a nice piece. I'm not arguing that. And maybe with the hiring of Bill Callahan, who is Brian Callahan's dad, who's known as one of the best O-line coaches in the league, maybe that is kind of like changed the opinion on who the Titans take here. So at number 8, we have Latu to the Falcons. I think the Falcons go edge here. If it's not Latu, although I really like Verse, Latu, and Turner are like all the top edges. I would go Latu, Turner, kind of edge 1, edge 2, however you want to rank them, edge verse 3. But from what I was listening to the Stock Exchange podcast with Trevor Sikkema and Connor Rogers, and they were talking about when Verse was going to come out last year, the Falcons were one of those teams that was really, really interested in him. So at 8, I could see if Verse falls to them, which I don't see why he wouldn't. Them, if they're going to go edge, jumping on Verse because he's a prospect that they have been interested in for the last 2 years. I think edge is the right position for them. At pick number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking Malik Neighbors. Again, hire the same guy that ran in the Giants draft card and hire him for the Bears, because if Malik Neighbors falls to 9, you shouldn't even spend a second thinking about it. Take Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, I know he's a similar, I don't want to say similar, but more similar play style to DJ Moore than like a Rome Odunze. But here it has to be Malik Neighbors or it has to be Brock Bowers. I think you need a playmaker on offense. Malik Neighbors, if Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't in the class, Malik Neighbors would be wide receiver 1. No doubt about it. So I just think Neighbors is definitely the pick here if he is available for the Bears. You have Caleb Williams with a ton of weapons then at that point. At pick number 10, we have the New York Jets taking Joe Alt. Honestly, I've been seeing mocks with fucking Brock Bowers going to the Jets, and it's just like, dude, what the hell? Like, we've seen how bad the O-line is. Joe Alt, like I've said, super high floor. If he is there at 10, you can bet, I'll bet the fucking mortgage, I won't actually do that, but I'll bet a lot of money that Joe Alt is there. Or Olu, it's got to be an offensive tackle. I think Alt would be the smartest pick because, like I said, you've dealt with injuries on that line, and it's just like you don't want to really risk your limited time with Aaron Rodgers. At number 11, they have J.J. McCarthy going to the Minnesota Vikings. So I will say this. I've heard the league is a lot higher on J.J. McCarthy than media is. And my thing is this. If the coach truly feels that they can develop McCarthy into like a top 12 quarterback, I understand why you take him. I could see him going to the Vikings. I could see him going to the Broncos. I could see him going to the Rams. But if he doesn't pan out, because I just think there is some stuff where it's just like, there was a lot of run-heavy game plans for him this year at Michigan where they only threw the ball like 10 times. And it was very obvious in that national championship that until they were winning, like for real, they just really didn't trust him with the ball in his hand. They just kept pounding the run. And I know you got to switch it up. But at the end of the day, I think 11 is a little rich for him. Obviously, there's the quarterback tax, but I guess if the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell truly feel like they can develop into that franchise quarterback, he can be a dual threat quarterback if you can get him going through the air. At number 12, we have the Broncos taking Bo Nix. So I heard someone's opinion on this. I can't remember who it was, but they basically said, yes, Bo Nix can be successful in the NFL. And I know all these guys are lottery tickets. You have no clue who's going to be good, who's going to be bad. But I heard him say, do you want to be the team to find out? And if I'm a Broncos fan, I do not. Especially after all the shit that just went down with Russ and Sean Payton. While I think he'd be in better hands than most teams with Sean Payton, with Bo Nix and Sean Payton, I don't know if like this is, I don't know. I am not the highest on Nix. And if Sean Payton truly believes he can, turn him into that guy, then by all means go ahead and take him. But if you miss on it, it's just like, oh Lord, like, you missed on the Russ trade. You missed on the quarterback in the first round. There's a lot of spots. I mean, there's a decent amount of spots that need to be filled on the Broncos. Kind of a scary pick. At number 13, we have the Raiders taking Terrion Arnold. First corner off the board. I can see him as going as high as 8 or even, I can see him going to the Falcons. I know you guys have like decent corners, but getting like a first round corner in there would be nice. I could also see him going 11 to the Vikings or 12 to the Broncos to pair with Pat Surtain. I think this is a really good pick for the Raiders. It helps them in the secondary, and he's only a sophomore, so young cornerback that can be molded. At number 14, we have the Saints going Olu Fashanu. Right pick here. They need an offensive tackle with the issues of Trevor Penning. Olu is one of the best pass protectors in the draft. Big body. I know he's been dropping a little bit, but to be OT2 off the board is not a bad thing at all. At number 15, I have the Indianapolis Colts taking Nate Wiggins to kind of build up that secondary with the first-round talent at cornerback in Nate Wiggins. I think is a good choice. Any of the cornerbacks here would have been a good choice. I've been seeing Wiggins mocked to the Colts a lot, so maybe they really like his pick. Maybe that's what they're hearing around the league. But anyway, anything on that secondary to kind of build it up, not a bad idea. I could also see them taking possibly like a Brock Bowers or even trading back and getting one of the receivers later in the round to pair with like Michael Pittman Jr. because he's not getting out of Indy. They're making sure that doesn't happen. Josh Downs, everyone like that. All right, number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Brock Bowers. I don't hate it. But at the same time, I don't know, because they already have JSN, they have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, they have Zach Charbonnet, they have Kenneth Walker, they have Noah Fant. Like, I understand you're adding more weapons to an arsenal for Geno Smith, but after this year, after 2024, is Geno Smith going to be the guy? And I know you're putting then your rookie quarterback in, or whoever is quarterback for the Seahawks, in a great place with a lot of weapons, but I just feel like there's other needs that have to be addressed. 16, in my opinion, is great value for Bowers, but I don't love like kind of the positional need here. But if you want to go best player available, he might be the best player available at this spot. At number 17, we have J.C. Latham to the Jaguars. I really like this pick. I think you need more help protecting Trevor Lawrence, and Latham, in my opinion, is up there with Olu in terms of talent. I think he's a very big, patient pass protector. I think, playing all those snaps at the SEC level has done him a lot of help. Anything trenches, I do not mind. I know the Jaguars could probably use a receiver here as well, but there's plenty in free agency that you can go get. They already have like a nice little core base. They just need like a true alpha one receiver there. At number 18, we have the Bengals taking Brian Thomas Jr. I think a receiver here is right, obviously, with T. Higgins possibly leaving in free agency, Tyler Boyd gone. It's going to be Jamar Chase and Charlie Jones, Sivas, those type of guys. So to get a big body receiver in there to pair with Jamar Chase is a good pick. Give Joe Burrow another weapon to play with. At number 19, we have Cam Kitchens to the Rams. So I just finished like my top 7 or 8 safeties for college. I have Kitchens as my number 2. And Tyler Nubin is my 1. So it really depends on what you want. In my opinion, Kitchens is a very, very athletic ball hawk who is always around the field, but he is, and he's a big hitter. He'll lay a hit down, but his over aggressiveness can like take him out sometimes. And my thing is, I think Nubin is the more complete safety, but if you want like a hard-hitting safety who can play the field, who has very good athleticism, is very fast, Kitchens is the guy here, and I like the fit for the Rams. At number 20, we have the Steelers taking Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell has been rising up draft boards after the Senior Bowl practices and his performance. He has been very impressive, sticking with some of the top receivers in the league. Yes, he played in the MAC. It's whatever you want to put it as, in terms of like how you view that conference. But I think to pair with Joey Porter Jr., obviously he was a 2nd round pick, technically a 1st if you want to go by number. The secondary in Pittsburgh is going to get scary. At number 21, we have the Dolphins taking Jackson Powers Johnson. First IOL off the board, raised his stock in Mobile, Alabama. He is, projected to go 21, obviously, in this draft, but I could see him go a little bit higher. He is supposedly supposed to be that cream of the crop guy, and if Connor Williams isn't coming back, then they definitely need help on the interior. They have Austin Jackson, Teron Armstead on the outside. I know Teron Armstead's getting a little bit older, is injury prone, all that, but you got to have 5 durable players on the line, and Powers Johnson can be that guy. At number 22, we have Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Eagles. Like I said, every mock draft I see a corner going there. And, I had some comments like this on my video. And as I was listening to, some other draft podcast, they're talking about how some Eagles fans will be upset with corners there. Like you have Ringo and who's the other guy that I can't remember his name, but they have another young guy, and Slay and Bradbury are getting older. And I guess my thing is like, do you have like first round talent in the cornerback room that is young? And like, I don't know if you do. So I think corner here, whoever you take, is the right pick. At number 23, we have another corner off the board, Cooper DeJean to the Houston Texans. And my thing is this. That's a fun pick. And the Texans definitely need cornerback help. You get one of the top guys on the board here. And I think, with the way he can move around the field, how quick he is, his athleticism, DeMeco Ryans going to be able to use him really in some really fun ways. And I think this is a great spot for Cooper DeJean. At number 24, we have the Cowboys taking Tyler Nubin. I really like this pick. Nubin is not the most, he does not have elite athleticism, but in watching Newman, he's a very big, long prospect, and he is able to, while he might not have the athleticism, due to his length, he's able to get up there, knock the ball down. He will also lay a hit on somebody. Like if you want athleticism, take Cam Kitchens. If you want a guy who's going to read the field, play really well, like as like a center field safety, like Kitchens plays center field too, but like Newman he's just more of like the cerebral player, if that makes sense. And I think Newman going into this Cowboys defense is a good fit. At 25, we have the Packers taking Kamari Lassiter. They need secondary help. Very, very trustworthy player on the field, knows where he's going to be, can make those plays when he needs to make the plays. Not the most athletic guy, but someone who is going to be in the spot you need them to be. Good pick. At number 26, we have the Buccaneers taking Dallas Turner. So if Dallas Turner falls to 26, which is well in the possibility that he does, the Bucs are getting a steal. I really like Dallas Turner. Like I said, between him, between Verse, Turner, and Latu, I think those are the top three edges off the board. And I think it's kind of like you pick your preference. Like, what do you want in an edge rusher? And Tampa Bay Buccaneers obviously prefer Dallas Turner here. At 27, we have Chop Robinson going to the Arizona Cardinals at 27. So it's really funny because I just keep seeing Chop mocked to the in the late first round. And in my opinion, yeah, he has a quick first step, and he's a raw athlete. But if Jared Verse is not off the board here, I don't know how you don't go Jared Verse. I think you get a more polished pass rusher, and maybe you just like Chop better for the system. But so he says head coach Jonathan Gannon sees a little Hassan Reddick and Robinson when he's flying around the corner. Yeah, he's fast, but I think Verse is the more polished guy. I don't hate the positional take here, but I'm not a fan of the player. At number 28, we have Troy Franklin to the Buffalo Bills. I like this pick a lot. Troy Franklin is a very speedy receiver from Oregon. I would also not be opposed to like a Keon Coleman here. I think the Bills have a little bit of reach allowed here, just because they are a pretty well built team, and I think you need to really build the weapons in the wide receiver room around Josh Allen this year. I know they have Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is a free agent. I personally would not bring him back. You get Troy Franklin, sign another big receiver in free agency, and you're actually cooking because you have a good tight end room already. James Cook is starting to pan out. You have a good team. So go get that wide receiver help that you desperately need at the end of the first round. At number 29, we have the Lions taking Darius Robinson. From what I understand, I need to do more watching on him. He is kind of like a tweener, so between like an edge rusher and an interior defensive lineman. If you're a Bears fan, someone like a DeMarcus Walker. So I think if you're going to put him on the Lions line, maybe opposite of Aiden Hutchinson or next to Aleem McNeil. This could be a good pick because he showed out kind of at the Senior Bowl. I believe he was there. Why am I blanking? I think he is there, and I think that's where he raised the stock. Unless I'm thinking East-West Shrine Bowl. But anyway, he was at one of the bowls, and he has been moving up draft boards quite a bit. At number 30, we have Jerzon Newton to the Baltimore Ravens. Seeing Jerzon Newton drop to the bottom of these mocks has been so crazy because I've always seen him mock super high. And like I said, over the next couple months, these mock drafts are going to change like crazy. So if, he could very well be a top 15 pick, but with the way the boards are falling now, he's falling to the end of the first round. And honestly, if you're a team at the beginning of the second, he might be someone that you trade up to go get. And I also could see in these last 3 spots that a team that wants like maybe a Michael Penix and is going to take him in the second round trades up so they get that 5th-year option on his rookie deal. But Jerzon Newton to the Ravens makes a lot of sense. They're going to be losing Clowney, I believe, and I believe they're going to be losing Justin Madubuike if they're not able to resign him. Get some help on the interior of the line. At number 31, we have the Chiefs taking Ladd McConkey. I really like this pick. He's really explosive. He has great hands. He has been a little bit injury prone, but I think to pair him with a Rashee Rice, if you go out and get another wide receiver in free agency, I think your wide receiver room is kind of revitalized. He, to me, does not strike me as like that Sky Moore type of prospect. Kadarius Toney, like he seems to me like a more sure like NFL player than those other guys. At number 32, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Leonard Taylor. He has been kind of talked about a lot up there as one of the top interior defensive linemen. I think with the San Francisco 49ers motto of always being dominant in the trenches, this is the way to go. Whether it is, even I could see like maybe like a Tyler Guyton here, to replace, put a right tackle in there. Even Amarius Mims would be cool here. But if you're going to go on the defensive side of the ball, I think you could go Jared Verse as well. He didn't come off the board, but also like I said, anything in the trenches I like here. So this was a very interesting mock draft by Chris Trapasso. I think I'm saying that right. And I appreciate you guys sticking through it with me here. Let me know in the comments your favorite pick or your least favorite pick. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. We're bringing you guys daily content. Leave a like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day.